And here we are in hour 2 of Vyzygoth Raw and Live. And we've devoted this particular show to Larry the Contractor guy, who's been doing a series you're all familiar with called We Are What We Hated. We're going to use this as part 23. And with Larry and myself, as happened last time in part 22, William Ramsey's here, and talking about the occult side of the Nazi regime, and also how, as I think Peikoff identified it back in 1980, that it has seeped over here. And as we ended that first hour, it was discussed between Larry and William about certain penetrations, if you will, and I use this word very, in a very wide expanse, into American life, to include the creation of the CIA. And I guess you guys probably familiar with the story that I mentioned a couple of times about my uncle who was in the OSS, the forerunner of the CIA, at a Christmas party when I was too young to understand things, getting the glow on and holding court in the living room with all the extended families. And all I remember is his kind of tearful admission when he said what we did was treasonous. It was treasonous. I've never been able to find out exactly what he meant, but since he didn't go from the OSS into the CIA, I've often wondered if he knew exactly what was going on with the transformation. So there you have it. That's how we ended hour 1. We're going to come on back now, too, if you're going to call, and you know you want to. The number is 618-912-4681. We're not going to be disappointed if you don't, but the whole idea of doing the live show is that if there's some people who usually email, and that's fine, but if there's a chance you get to talk exactly about what you want or ask whatever questions that you've wanted to, this is why we've done this. So at any rate, until that time, we're going to throw it back to Larry as we kick in the second hour. And what are we going to be looking at right now?
Well, I just wanted to talk some more about what we were talking about earlier, the Children of the Beast, which is I think the title of William's next work. And I wanted to just read an excerpt from an article by Dave McGowan, who's also been a guest on the show, and in my opinion is one of the best writers, contemporary writers in America. And he's talking about, it's from an article called There's Something About Henry, which is about Henry Lee Lucas. He wrote back in June 2000. It's one of the best articles I've ever read. And he says, Crowley had assumed the leadership of the OTO in 1922 when founder Theodore Royce, a German occultist and intelligence asset, had stepped down. The OTO, then, along with the various organizations spawned from it, is in a direct line of descent from the German occult-based secret societies that gave rise to the Third Reich, a fact made evident by the ideology and symbolism of the Process Church, whose logo is a modified swastika. Back in the Bay Area, Anton Sander LaVey and Crowley enthusiast Kenneth Anger would set about visually organizing the Church of Satan in San Francisco, where LaVey would become something of a celebrity, the clown prince of Satanism. From this church would spring forth both the Temple of Set, led by a U.S. intelligence asset and psychological warfare specialist, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, and the Werewolf Order, founded by LaVey's daughter Zena and Manson admirer Nicholas Schreck. Both these offshoots embraced an unabashedly fascist ideology. The Werewolf Order was patterned directly after the Nazi Front Werewolf Corps created in post-war Germany to thwart any attempts at denazification. Zena LaVey and Nicholas Schreck are also notable for holding a public gathering on August 8, 1988, to celebrate the anniversary of the slaughter of Sharon Tate by the Manson family. Just kind of threw that in there. Hopefully, William can elaborate a little more on that. And it's just the mindset of somebody who would have a celebration over the slaughter of an innocent human being is just a little bit beyond me.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing. Anton LaVey was, he was familiar with a lot of Crowley writings. He actually had gone over to Berkeley and met with one of the followers of Crowley, Grady McMurtry, who had a personal relationship with Crowley when Crowley was in Hastings, and he didn't quite, he was definitely a Satanist, LaVey was, but he didn't quite gin up to the Crowley version of that kind of thing. Crowley was maybe a little too sophisticated, and these guys were talking about all kinds of different stuff. So that's when he went to San Francisco and started his own view, but there is definitely a correlation there. As far as like the Manson murders, Manson was in jail, and like I stated earlier, he was familiar with Scientology. He was a member of the Solar Lodge. When the Manson killings did happen, McMurtry, this person who I was just referencing, he went to the FBI and said, "We don't know him," which is, like thou dost protest a little too much.
Shakespeare.
And the FBI I didn't follow up on that story, but they didn't seem to pursue it any further. And, an interesting story about Manson that I just read about one day was that Jim Morrison, who was familiar with the occult, and Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys were driving down Sunset and gave Manson a ride to Cielo Drive where that murder took place. So if you can imagine that, in all in one car together is Manson, Morrison, and Wilson driving to Cielo Drive before, because Manson was familiar with that house. It wasn't a random, event. So anyway, that's just a little aside. But these guys there's correlations and connections, and there's more research to be done, and a lot of it's very secret. But like Manson's a member of the Solar Lodge. I mean, that should say a lot about how sophisticated he was in his relationship with the other people, and he used all kinds of mind control techniques on his family with a capital F. So, just these this kind of theme of Children of the Beast is things that have come through from Crowley and cross-fertilize these other Satanists. And, these are shocking events in our cultural, political, and sociological history. So, to see the occult influences underneath that, I think is crucial.
We have
There's one person. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Larry. Yeah, let me throw this out there because I think you're going to respond to this. We just got a kind of extensive and intensive email from someone, and it's back to what you guys are just talking about with regard to Manson, Kinsey, and what I would call our junk culture. But the individual writes, in 1773, in Judenstrasse, Germany, 13 wealthy men set forth a 25-point strategy that was to be followed over the next 250 years. Anyway, the 3 points were, and I'll hit these real quick, and then there's a statement or a question afterwards. 1 point, fool, bemuse, and corrupt the younger members of society by teaching them theories and principles we know to be false. Number 2, advocate the use of alcoholic liquors, yes, drugs, moral corruption, and all forms of vice used systematically by, quote, agenteurs to corrupt the youth. Use mob psychology to control the masses, quote, without absolute despotism. One cannot rule efficiently. And so here's the question of sorts. Do you think that the celebrity culture, which manifests and indoctrinates this corruption today in this nation, has replaced the need for, let's say, quote, a Hitler youth? Let's leave it right there. There are 2 more to follow. With all that you've heard, let me just restate that. Do you think that the celebrity culture has replaced the need for a Hitler youth?
I'm not sure, but I would think that the need for a Hitler youth probably is no need for it. I think so many young people, are walking in lockstep with anything that they see in popular culture, from rock and hip hop, rap music. I think the musicians, we have a culture that just worships popular music, and especially the musicians that make it. And I think they kind of provide the training ground. And yeah, I think there probably isn't that much need for a Hitler youth. Although I wouldn't doubt that they could gin one up if they wanted to.
William.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for the ultimate goal, the long-term goal of the occultists, which is, they all kind of have the same look of everything, which is one global state, and what's going to happen in the future is this real push, and they all were interested in immortality, believe it or not, however strange that may sound. But I think that they're being definitely influenced by the ideas of this culture. And, I think that the new Hitler Youth will be more global in nature. So the Hitler was only able to influence his nation, but in the future, as we move, as society becomes a global culture and the so-called global village, and communication and travel is expanded, these people the occultists are really gunning to raise up a whole new generation of people. So I wouldn't say that it would be the same as, I think to keep that agenda going, which was what Hitler wanted, and for this age, they'll just try to raise up a whole new generation that thinks that really won't know any contradictory information other than these themes or memes that are put out there that are essentially occultic in nature, breaking down borders, the need for world government, World Bank, etc.
I can't think of the website right now, but there's a website that shows the connections between the occult and popular music and popular culture that I've seen. And one of the people in it we mentioned earlier was Lady Gaga, who is incredibly popular. And this woman, she was doing all kinds of hand signs and different symbols, and the way she was dressed and the way they had her photographed, the way they had her positioned, etc. Well, she was exhibiting all kinds of occult symbolism. And there's tons of others.
Was the website Vigilant Citizen?
That may be it, yeah. I think that is.
I would suggest taking a look at Vigilant Citizen, because this guy, whoever that is doing a very good job at pulling all the Illuminati symbolism that's been used from cultures all over the world. Right. And it's pretty astonishing to see it. It's not just in the States, but in countries in the, Soviet bloc, Korea, Japan. These people are all doing the one-eye statements. There are references to butterflies, which is like monarch programming reference. There are broken mirrors. There's Two-Faced. There's all the
there's a lot of speculation that certain celebrities, musicians, etc., singers like Britney Spears have been subjected to monarch-style programming. I don't know if that's true or not, but they especially mention her, and there's a lot on that website about Britney Spears, and from some of the things that she's seen doing, again, the hand signs and the postures and so forth, it looks like she may very well have been programmed.
All right, I'm going to go on with this also because, as I said, these are pretty good questions, and I think you'll appreciate them. Also, I just want to throw out to you guys, not that it's a real big deal, but Angie found something. Talking about the winks and nods that the occult like to engage in, whether or not the masses pick it up or not. And we are aware of it. That just confirms the fact that there were evil people who run this whole show. But did you guys, by any chance, did I send this to you about the video with Donald Trump? And somebody please explain what he's all about. But he's doing some kind of commercial, and he walks down a hallway where all these sheep are lined up, because this is about sleeping in beds and such. And as he walks down the hallway, every sheep that's out in the hallway is numbered, but the only two numbers you can see as he walks down, one is 9, and guess what? The other is 11. Did you guys see that at all?
No, I didn't see it, but it doesn't surprise me at all.
All right, I'll send that out. That was, it's after the fact, but still in all, it seems like you got 9/11 in a New York hotel, and you have arguably the king of New York City, Donald Trump, walking down the hallway. You know what I mean? And Angie was right on top of that thing. Because, not that she cared, but bang, that looks strange, and there you have it.
Yeah, it's not even subliminal anymore. It's up in your face. The occult is just sticking it out there to the public and laughing because people don't get it. And, I guess the old occultists years ago were probably laughing their butts off about the Statue of Liberty and that sort of thing. Now, where it's right there in your face. Now,
remember what we're talking about also when she mentioned Hitler Youth, and I would ask people to listen to the interview I did with Rita Williams about her life in Nazi Germany, where she was born in Buffalo, New York, and was like 5 years old. Her father had jumped ship, a German ship. He was a chef and didn't want to go back, raised a family in Buffalo, and guess what? The version of immigration at that time, INS, found him, and they all had to go back, and he went right back into the teeth of the Nazi movement. How lucky can you get? But she expounds on what the Hitler Youth meant to them. She does not protect Germany in any shape or form, but I think she gives a very, very accurate account as a child. I mean, you're thinking somebody's like 5 to 10 years old now about what that was like. But where I was going with this is that the need is always for collectivism. You can call it anything you want. You can call it the hive mind, whatever. You can call it groupthink. But people need to believe that they belong to a greater whole that, for the most part, they hope is good, but I don't really think they care as long as they're in the majority.
Well, I think that's what rock concerts have become, is hive mind. I mean, I admit it, I've been to a few in my day, where people were so wasted, and, in the course of getting into the music, it was like everybody bobbing their heads the same, and everybody like gyrating and, with the same beat, into a frenzy. I mean, it was like a ecstatic experience, with. And it was like a group mind. Everybody, everything melding together. People losing themselves in that. And it's a very powerful thing.
All right, William, do you have any input? If not, let me go on to the next question.
Next question.
Okay. And so, I'm just saying that it is important to have a collectivist mentality. And by the way, even though these little pleasure units are out there with their little cell phones and all that other stuff, iPads and junk, they are being taught in school, by the way, to be very much part of the Commonwealth. All right, now it said that this decadent atmosphere has enveloped these kids since birth. That's taught them that the world revolves around them. Once taken away, will that facilitate the environment these evil people that obviously our handles dream about? Essentially, is this going to be Nazi Germany on even a larger scale? I'll throw it to you, Larry, and then over to William.
I think it will be. It'll just be an Americanized and modern version of it. I mean, it won't be exactly like the German Reich, but it'll be something along the same lines. I mean, when you look at things now, I mean, we're becoming more and more a police state. I mean, you have to be very careful, what you do and say, because somebody could carry you off in the middle of the night. I didn't used to believe that could happen in America when I was a kid growing up, and it didn't happen really for the most part, but it can and does now. I heard a lecture, or not a lecture, but an interview with a woman who was basically deprived of all her civil rights and was put on an American military base as a prisoner under this under the Patriot Act. And
Susan Lindauer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. You could probably expound on that.
Well, she I think she was a CIA agent, and then she got ruffled somebody's feathers, and they just threw her in the hole in the brig for a year. Yeah, somewhere in Texas, and nobody could find her, no habeas corpus. And she was lucky to get out, but she's out there just trying to tell people what can happen. Right. And she's very sharp. And
she had an interview on Black Op Radio with Len Osanek, and I mean, it didn't shock me that it could happen, but in a way it did, because I hadn't heard of anybody yet, that had been treated in this manner. And apparently she said the wrong thing about 9/11, and she knew a little too much about it, and they came and took her away. And like I say, I mean, she was lucky that, I guess she was from an upper class family, and she had an uncle who was a very powerful lawyer who helped her out. But otherwise, she'd probably still be there.
Remember,
that my understanding is that there are already brigs that have a lot of Muslims that are in there, but they're not getting any play on the media, and so it's already happening. It's just they're going after the people they can and who don't have the power to fight it. So she was really one of the first, what I'd call, real, somebody who was from the States, a third or fourth generation American that they, threw in. But they can take these immigrants and throw them in there.
Right. And they've got their replacement scapegoat now. Instead of going after the Jews like the Nazis did, they're going after the Muslims for the most part, and other groups too, but especially the Muslims and illegal immigrants. I mean, I'm not for illegal immigration, but my God, some of the stuff that's going on with those people, it's just wrong. It's unjust.
All right, let me bring up something else as well, and that is everybody remember that, what was it, Juan Padilla? The last name's Padilla.
Yeah.
Who was involved, I don't know how many 20th hijackers they had. It was 19, and a 20th pops up, and a 20th pops up. Moussaoui's one of them. Well, Padilla was an American citizen supposedly involved in this whole plot. American citizen, understand, supposedly due, quote, rights. And as a result...
He didn't have any.
No, I mean, he got thrown away for 3 years, and that's an American citizen. So, again, it shows that you do not have rights, you have privileges, and they revoked that from him. Also, I have an interview up with Eddie Kahn. He pronounces it Kane, it's K-A-H-N. And take a look at that, if you will. It's on the website, on my homepage, the audio page, in which he had helped Wesley Snipes get out of the IRS system. Well, that blew up. Snipes is now out free after spending a little time and paying some money. Kane went down to, I believe it was Panama. The FBI came down, kidnapped him, which is illegal, brought him back to the States, and he's been bounced around the penal system like a ping pong ball. I did a jailhouse interview with him, and when I'm trying to find him again with the help of a listener by the name of Kelly to try to get him back on again, here again, he's never seen his day in court. I mean, there's been no habeas corpus whatsoever. They do what they want to do whenever they want to do it, and that's why I don't want to go off too far on this, but I would say this. There's a lot of 20-somethings and 30-somethings out there who have come upon the informer in Montgomery's work, and they're thinking they're all going to bust the move to become a non-alien resident. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't know why the sun shines on some and not on others. Don't know why the loopholes are there. They'll all be gone one day. But if you want to do that, understand you can be right, and they'll still throw your butt in jail because they can. Just understand that. The other thing I want to bring up to you guys...
What people need to understand is that they have no rights.
No.
I mean, you're going under a dictatorship, and it has all the trappings of a republic. It has all the trappings of civil rights. It's all there as far as formalities go, but they'll do exactly what they want to do. If they want to come and put you in a van in the middle of the night and take you off to a military base and hold you there, they're going to do it. They've done it, and they got away with it, and they're probably continue to get away with it.
Well, all those other tyrannies had that exactly what you're talking about, Larry, is that these trappings and these statements that you have rights and you've got this and we're doing great and this is a paradise. And then the reality's underneath that kind of velvet glove.
Right.
And, they can
really just do whatever they want to these people.
All right, guys, we have a caller. If we could we bring a caller in?
Sure.
Come on, caller.
Hello.
You're on.
It's Jeff in Washington, D.C.
Just my luck.
Yeah, and I'll keep it brief, but I just wanted to add some fodder to what you guys are talking about. Maybe not so much questions, but with the whole Nazi theme. Out at CIA here in McLean, they have a museum, and in 1997, they opened it up to some journalists, one being a friend of mine. And he went and toured a little bit, and while he was in the museum, he noticed this massive statue, and they're somewhere between 6 and 7 feet. And when he got up close to it, he realized who it was. It was of Hermann Goering, and the placard said, "From the personal collection of Alan Dulles." Wow. A lot of Nazi memorabilia in there.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Who would have thunk
Did
it?
you know that Alan Dulles donated the chalet that Reinhard Gehlen, who was the ex-Nazi general, top espionage on the Eastern Front, and Reinhard Gehlen's chalet in Switzerland was donated to him by his good friend Alan Dulles, who had brought him into the CIA.
What are friends for?
Well, that whole Dulles family with the brothers, everybody forgets about the sister Eleanor. She was the one that was left in the background, probably doing a lot more creepiness. But she worked for the State Department for a long time. But I remember doing some research that, of course, on the Wikipedia page about her, it talks about her life and times in Berlin and Germany and Austria after the war. But I know that they had an office in Berlin, the three of them, before World War II started, because they were tied together with Prescott Bush and Brown Brothers Harriman.
Oh yeah.
And the setup for Nazi Germany. And of course, she just happened to be part of the U.S. representatives for Bretton Woods and setting up the IMF at that time. And for some strange reason, she was sent to Austria to help set Austria back up after the war. But she did a lot of traveling for that, of course, under the guise of teaching at universities before World War II. But another thing I wanted to bring up real quick about Susan Lindauer, I'm still waiting to talk to her. She lives here in the region, but I really want to go over the information that she has about some of her background, because we talked on air a couple months ago, specifically pertaining to some information she had on Pan Am 103 and that bombing, and we discussed that for a bit on air because for whatever reason I was pulled off of that flight at the last minute by Air Force Intelligence when they were sending me back here for something else. But the thing to remember about her is that her cousin is Ari Fleischer. So, she, not only one of the first people imprisoned for about 10 months under the Patriot Act. I mean,
no, we all got bounced out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, Biz.
I think I do.
Just all of a sudden, Jeff was talking, and boom, it was over.
Well,
I tried to call back in, and there was some a voicemail with a lady with a British accent.
No. I mean, what happened? I mean, well, think about it. I mean, Long was on, and we got booted.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try to recoup.
Something very strange there. I don't want to get paranoid, but
yeah, it doesn't make you wrong, bro. Is William with us? I think William will try to get back in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but remember, I had that wonderful experience with Blog Talk Radio in Killtown.
Yeah.
All right.
There's certain subjects, I guess, you just can't talk about, and without getting some interference.
Well, I don't know. Again,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to be paranoid about it. It may just been,
All right, what I'm going to do is
technical difficulty, but who knows?
I'm just going to. He goes, I don't know what happened. Because Jim said everything's okay here. I don't know what's up. Well, that makes me feel good. All right, William. Well, it doesn't really matter. I can't talk to William, so we got that.
You'll
chat
probably
room.
Try to call back in.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You might hear me clacking right now. I'm telling to call back in. We'll pick up where we left off, but no, Jeff's got some really good information. I don't know. Who knows? He'll get back to us.
Is Jeff gone too? Is he still on?
Yeah, he's gone, but he knows what to do. I mean, if he can't get back in, or else he'll just save it for another day. We'll see what happens.
Guy. He always has interesting insights. I guess with his background, he knows more than the average bear about these sort of machinations within the government.
Well, remember too that he had notified me that he was
getting,
and now we're having
feedback.
Okay, I'm back.
Who's back,
All right.
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff. I know. That's William.
This is Robert. Yeah, William, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Robert, thank you.
Sorry. Did you guys, did I get dropped, or did you guys drop?
We all got dropped.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Except for Hillman, because he lives in Texas. And that's another country.
I thought it was me. I was like, God, what the hell? What the heck happened?
Oh, live radio. All right. Is Robert there?
Yeah, that's me too, but William's my middle name.
I'm looking for Jeff Long. I thought he'd call in with another name.
We're not being recorded now, are we?
Oh, absolutely, but I'll take that out. Unfortunately, there's a whole bunch of people who heard that live. All right, don't worry about it. There's only 2 people in the United States named Robert. You're one of them. Don't worry about it. All right. Anyway, we'll get back on track. If Jeff will call back in, it'll be great, but he's probably the reason why we got dropped. You can't make those calls from McLean, Virginia, bro. You just can't do that.
Flight 103.
They may be monitoring these conversations.
I'll end with this. If Jeff calls back in, great, because I still have questions backed up, guys, and they're good ones. But the last comment from the individual who had sent a rather extensive email was a quote. I'm not really sure where that comes from, but it says, bring about class wars by substituting the word freedom for faith, the aid of, quote, capital, would be, quote,
it sounds
entirely
like,
in our
I hate
hands.
to say this, but it sure sounds like the protocols of the elders have signed.
Our Jesuit friends,
But-
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't. We've been all over what that's all about, and it may not be from there. I'm not sure, but it sounds like it. But we all know who really wrote that. So.
Well, we got a call, an email rather, and this person has some questions to ask too. But this is a separate email. It comes from Canada, the linchpin of the empire, and it said,
I love Canada. Great place.
Canada.
Don't say anything bad about the Canadians.
All right. Jeff is back, but Jeff, just stay there for a second. The individual from Canada wrote, as soon as Jeff talked about Ari Fleischer and Susan Linden, how can you get that in the same sentence? Ari Fleischer and Susan Lindauer, you all were gone. Well, we're all back, and the guy who started this is with us too. Jeff,
Right.
Why do you do these things to us?
Well, I'll keep it brief so hopefully it doesn't get cut off again. As I look out over at the CIA from here, I can see.
And remember, they can look back at you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Perry to be a best, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the show that I did that one night with Viz and the Uticans, I was actually doing it that night from just outside the fence of the CIA that night because I was out there at the farm, my property, which I just thought was funny. But that was weird. As soon as I heard a pop on my phone, and then the phone call died, and then my connection to the internet died briefly here at the house at the same time. Everything just kind of cut out.
Wow.
Even though my phone said it was still on, but it is a VoIP phone, so it's not like it's secret classified information that I was throwing out there.
Yeah.
But I could, but I don't need that kind of trouble.
Oh, you don't.
Yeah, I'll let you guys get back to it. It was just, weird. I guess we're just coincidence theorists, that it just kind of happened that way.
Well, I told Lady Viz to start packing. We're going to take the beer, the birds, and a couple of suitcases. We're out of here.
Yeah. Oh, and that truck. Don't forget the truck.
The truck. Yes.
I like that old beater truck.
Oh, it's the best. All right.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it so that you guys can finish up, and I won't cause the internet to be shut down.
Yeah, and you owe me a.
For that day that they did shut down my website for 24 hours, but I did complain to the CIA, not to Google and anybody else, but I complained to them, and then they returned my website and my Gmail account set it up related to the redacted news stuff, but they kept my YouTube page, and I still haven't been able to get that back. So,
well,
that is coming.
You owe me an interview too, there, big guy.
Okay.
All right.
Not a problem.
We'll see you later.
All right.
All right. Yeah, get somebody else in trouble, will you?
Yeah, DC Roller Girls. That's where I'm going next. I'm going to
Roller Derby in DC. This is the best.
Oh
yeah.
Hey, have you seen the kind of chicks that are in roller derby now? I mean, they're pretty hot.
Somebody get a hose.
Some of those that I know. The funny thing is that a lot of them are academics around here, and they're scientists.
Yeah.
I've come to know some of them.
I went to a roller derby here in Austin, and man, I was like, it was a hoot. It was fun.
Watch it, Larry.
Anyway.
Watch it.
Okay.
Get a hose on him.
I wasn't going to say anything ugly.
Yes, you were.
It was fun.
Right. Thank you, Jeff.
Well, you can't have a better sport than a bunch of smart women beating each other up on roller skates with bloody names. I mean,
hey, look.
That's the all-American sport.
Just watch Springer. That is the best ever since hockey fights. That's the best.
Yeah.
Man.
Well,
all
hockey
right.
fights are great too. I mean, speaking of Canada.
Oh, please. Oh, here goes the whole show down in tubes.
Who's the best Canadian hockey team? The Toronto Maple Leafs?
Oh, God, please, Larry.
They're not very good anymore, are they? The Canadians any good? Or
yeah.
I really don't know.
They're all good, Larry.
Call in and tell us.
They're all good. They're Canadian. It's okay.
Right.
Can we get back to the troubles of the world,
to the
please?
Canadians. We may need to cross that border someday.
If they by that time, they won't allow us, believe me. And they're working on it right now, and I can't blame them.
I believe it.
All right, I got some more questions for you guys before this hour ends and everybody goes back to their pods. Okay.
I'll catch you guys later.
All right, Jeff. Thanks a lot, though, really.
Not a problem. Got to warm up this ambulance and get it over there to the game.
Don't start. Just take pictures and send them to us. Guys, this is something I did want to table. I'm not trying to search for a segue, but honestly, what he had said is something I wanted to write about before. I had written down in my notes. That's what I wanted to say and speak to you guys about. Because, if you really think about this, and this is scary, but this also says something about the most intelligent are not necessarily the most moral. We all impute to intelligent people like PhDs or whatever, there's some kind of goodness and moral character. History would show that's probably not the case. And the reason I say it is, one, do we realize how many mass serial murderers had high IQs?
I think the majority of them did. Ted Bundy did, for sure.
No, and the other thing is, well, Peikoff wrote about this in Ominous Parallels. He said the best gas chambers were built by PhDs. Now think about the architects of our own demise and how many of them have an IQ probably off the map. That's what's scary about it, that it seems that this intense, or rather above average, normal, if you will, intelligence does not necessarily beget any kind of compassionate behavior.
No. People choose to do good or evil, and often the very intelligent people are evil. It's just the way it is. They choose to be that way. It's that temptation to want to lust for power and for whatever reason that isn't the province of just average people or below average people. It's often the province of people that are highly intelligent, probably more likely.
You guys talked about this, William. Did you ever find out a number on Crowley's IQ?
No, I don't even think they had the IQ test.
Probably not.
So, it just didn't apply. But, he clearly was able to pass the entrance exams to Cambridge, which sets him at the top after going to the best, private schools in England. And, it's off. He was off the charts. There's a whiff of dilettantism in some of his presumptions to write in Latin and Greek, which he didn't know very well. But, his output was incredible. I still come across places, like even when I was doing some research about him in some of the libraries, that there's pamphlets that show up that I didn't even know he wrote, and I thought I covered most of his work, and he's a very powerful intellect, without a doubt.
Now, again, what this other emailer had mentioned, and again, there's somewhat, it's on the periphery of what we're talking about, but when we talked about serial killers, first of all, I'm thinking about those who had in high places in governments which partook in world wars, but also here as well, and we mentioned, Bundy and the boys and such, but now there's something else going on, apparently, and I'm paraphrasing what the emailer wrote, and that is, are we looking, first of all, Manson was supposedly not to be anything exceptional. He might be, as far as I know, an exception to the rule as far as being brilliant or anywhere near it. You guys can fill me in on that.
He was a con artist, and he was able to get people to follow him, so he probably was a lot smarter than we might be giving him credit for.
Well,
he had a lot of street smarts.
Now, we have something going on, let's just look in the last couple of years, where we have these violent outbreaks, Columbine, shootings at Northern Illinois, out in California. Now, are we looking at something different there? Are we looking at a sort of MKUltra victim that's programmed, they throw them out in the populace just to see what it'll do and how effective that their manipulation is? So let's take a look at that. As far as keeping up public fear, William, are we in a situation where we're looking at probably not that intelligent individual, but somebody certainly fertile for manipulation and usage, whether it's as an assassin or a courier or whatever the other uses are for MKUltra mind manipulation?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's happening. I think that it started back in the '60s, and the techniques and skills are still there. And when I see people like the guy who did the shooting of Giffords in Arizona, and there was another guy at the Virginia Tech, I think it was. I mean, the whiff of mind control on those guys is over the top. The guy who was in Arizona was a definite mind control patsy. I think they were really trying to go after the judge and kill the judge who was there because he was more of a states' right advocate, and he wasn't going on with the New World Order, open borders agenda. And that kid was, you know, and he had a handler too. And there was another guy there that
was reported. Second guy who just they quit talking about after the first year. That's a common pattern, you know.
Yeah.
At first, the first stories you get, there's more than one, and then all of a sudden, it's just one guy.
And what's really scary about these events is that there's, you know, the lone nut patsy thing is still maintained, but it's also that there is a secondary media barrage that still, you know, is going with the general theme, you know, so they reinforce the fact that this guy was already unhinged or whatever.
Right.
And that's what makes it really scary is that the controlled media in this country, which is just as controlled as any media in Nazi Germany or communist Russia.
Well, it's like wasn't it Alan Dulles who talked about the giant Wurlitzer? It was one of the big CIA biggies who talked about the giant Wurlitzer when talking about the American media, where it's basically, you know, we're programming it. You know, we're putting the coins in the slot and they play whatever we want, you know.
Right.
And I mean, they've proven years ago that, you know, there were a ton of people in journalism, you know, in all the media that were CIA operatives.
Yeah, they're agents. Yeah, and it goes all the way to the top. I mean, it's hard for most Americans to believe that their media is that controlled and that tightly managed, but the sad reality is that it's managed very well from the top.
Well, America is really a corporatocracy, and the media, you know, are corporations. So you're only going to hear what the corporations want you to hear, because
agreed.
You know.
Well, they're the ones who pay. If you pay for advertising in one of the major magazines or newspapers, those newspapers are never going to say anything negative to you. And a lot of those corporations pay for advertising, even if they don't even want to advertise for anything, because they know that buys them a favorable opinion by that publication. You know, so. You know, I've seen like Northrop Grumman just advertise some space plane or some new plane that nobody really cares about, because I know what they're really trying to do is, you know, keep on the good side of that paper, so they'll never say anything bad about, you know, environmental hazards or lousy working conditions or anything like that. And the federal government does the same thing with like Drug-Free America programming. A lot of that is discretionary paying, you know, that the presidential office used for. I mean, it's like $700 million. But the way it's distributed out is that, you know, if you criticize anything about the presidency, you know, they'll use their discretion and remove that advertising dollar from whatever publication it is. And so, you know, that's kind of the sub rosa mechanics of manipulations that's used in the United States.
Well, you remember, I don't consider him that much of a great journalist, but Keith Olbermann is an example of somebody who was a little too far left, a little too critical of the administration, and he kind of got shoved out of NBC, and he's now on another kind of independent network, Current Affairs or something like that. But Olbermann used to really go to the wall. I mean, he made some statements that were kind of eye-opening to me, you know, in criticizing, especially in criticism of the Bush administration.
Well, the good news
wasn't long before.
And he's gone.
The good news is that he's off ESPN, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, he's on True News or something on some station. But going back to your original question, Viz, is, you know, these mind control patsies. One, if people have any questions or think that it can't happen or these people aren't being farmed, and I do believe that there is a program currently being used. I don't have any idea what its name is, but that are looking for people who are susceptible to mind control. If they have any doubts that it's effective, my suggestion is to look online and type in Darren Brown. He's an English magician, kind of edgy guy. It's DERREN Brown, and look up his use of mind control on this guy who went in and played a video game. I don't know the exact segment, but I would just say, type in Darren Brown video game mind control and watch what he can do to people. And it's all evidence, it's all filmed, and you can put people in a hypnotic state. And it also shows susceptibility. Some people are clearly susceptible, and some people aren't. And that wasn't his intent when he was doing this public display, but it comes across. He's very knowledgeable, this guy, Darren Brown.
We have another comment and somewhat raises a question. Before I get to it, I just want to say this, too. It's funny because we were talking about the impact of spectacle, if you will. And one of the things that has always queased me out, and I'm sure it has done to both of you, though we may admit we watch football, one of the things that never sat in my craw very well was what I called a Hitlerian halftime show during the Super Bowl. And I don't think I'm wrong in saying that in the least. I have never watched one of them. I got no stomach for it. And we're coming up, of course, in about 8 days to another one. But let me get to the email. Terrible Ted Torbich sent this in. And he said, and this is very interesting because I've been wondering about this, and I did write an article for American Free Press last year about this possibility. If you do believe that there's a script that America has to follow, the president that is selected and put in there is the best one suited to implement what section of that script has to go down. And here we go. Ted wrote, maybe you guys could comment on the visit yesterday or today of Old Man Bush and Jeb to Obama in the White House. I see Jeb as a stalking horse for the Republican convention, and while all the other tools occupying the White House are fascist Wall Street puppets, the Bush family seem to be the most overtly Nazi. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm just going to add this real quick, and William, I'll throw it to you, and Larry, if you would do the second response. But I think we all can pretty much equate, with good reason, the Bush family with Nazism. However, as you had mentioned before, Larry, I mean, when you look at far left and far right, they both meet at the same place. So it doesn't matter if you go from the left Bolshevik or from the right Nazi. If you're on extremist ends, they all meet in the middle. However, I had wondered if the GOP is to have their guy in. I was wondering always if Jeb would be a late draftee into the show, because I tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, everybody loves the Bushes again. You know, it's all better in the rearview mirror, and they think that that was just the best. So let me throw it to you, William. As Ted said, isn't this interesting? Are we going to get Jeb come in, who definitely would win, or are we going to just see this fighting in the GOP, and that brings Obama in, and then we get the FDR treatment rather than the fascist treatment?
Right. Well, the American people would have to be insane to put Jeb Bush back in office after George Bush being in the presidency for 8 years. Literally crazy. That family, not only are they Nazis, they're heavily involved in the occult, and their connections are all occulted. They're extremely dangerous. I mean, 9/11, 2 stolen elections, just a trail of
drug running too.
Oh, drug running through MENA, and the amount of people who were offed during their administration was off the charts. I mean, Wellstone, there were people
on Reagan.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jeb openly said that he was not going to run, which, you know, doesn't preclude him from running. But if he does run, you can just assume the election's going to be fixed in his favor. So, you know, if you want to go through another 8 years of political Satanism, I guess you could vote for Jeb Bush. But I mean, you can just go back through and see some of the stuff that even Bush Jr. said when he was in the office. I mean, his references to occultism and all of his statement and his dad as well are just off the charts. I mean, I can read to you guys some of his speeches, like the inaugural speech of Bush Jr., where he says, you know, do you not think an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm? I mean, if you're referencing you know, something from Christianity, you don't reference an angel in a whirlwind. And, you know, you don't say things like in his 2005 inaugural where he says, history has an ebb and flow of justice, but history also has a visible direction set by liberty and the author of liberty. Well, who's the author of liberty? That's straight Luciferianism. And, you know, it's a classic kind of, it's a direct correlation to Crowley's idea of Satan.
Well, they're all skull and bones, and the Skull and Bones Society is nothing more than a satanic secret society.
Right. I mean, and you can go back.
Who was the first person to ever use the term New World Order in recent history? Well, it was George H.W. Bush on 9/11/91, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but remember also that FDR mentioned it as world order.
Yeah. Well, Hitler called it his New Order.
Right.
And at one point the Nazis did call it the New World Order. That's where it came from.
All right, but
the first time the term was used was in a Nazi pamphlet in the 1920s, about the time that Hitler got into the leadership of the Nazi Party.
Well, if you have it, I mean, we can go in even deeper depth into like what George Bush Sr. has said, other than his New World Order. But when he's made a speech on October 1st in 1990 to the United Nations General Assembly, where he says he wanted to shape a new structure for the world that might support an ancient dream, and that ancient dream has always been the global order. Mm-hmm. He says, this is George Bush quoting him. He says, this is George Bush Sr. Intensely idealistic and yet tempered by war, they sought to build a new kind of bridge, a bridge between nations, a bridge that might help carry humankind from its darkest hour to its brightest day. Now, it's very important that he repeats bridge right after an ancient dream. Now, the bridge is a very important symbol in occultism. It goes all the way back, I think, even to Pergamum, and the pontiff means the bridge. I mean, it's a word that comes from back to Pergamum, our last discussion about Obama and the Temple at Pergamus, and essentially, this bridge concept. The title of the high priest or the magus there in Pergamum was the chief bridge builder, the one who spans the gap between mortals and Satan and his host, as it's written, and that's Pontifex Maximus. So when George Bush Sr. is repeating this bridge theorem, and it actually goes through to L. Ron Hubbard, like he had the bridge to total freedom. That was like the bridge that people were on in Scientology, and you'll see that repeated over and over. The bridge to total freedom, and you see some of these. There's actually, I think, somebody who wrote about the occult, about the bridge to. I can't remember her name. That was the title of one of her books. But anyway, this bridge is an important theme. Well, this all goes back to his speeches, and it's all deeply occult. And that's George Bush Sr. and his kids are following his footsteps. And if you want to have Jeb Bush as your president, and that's going to be your guy, and you ostensibly call yourself a Christian nation, you're kidding and fooling yourself.
Well, you know that the so-called evangelical Christians, I hate to even use that term, but what many people would call the Christian right, they're all going to line up in lockstep and vote for whoever the Republican Party tells them is going to be their candidate. And they'll make all kinds. They'll rationalize away all the things that are wrong with the Bush family and its history, et cetera, and they'll line up and vote for Jeb Bush.
It's a violation. It's a direct violation of their religion and their beliefs to go along with Satanists. I mean, what the hell? There's something deeply, deeply, deeply wrong with the leadership of the Christian church in this country if they can support people who are obviously making occult references over and over and over. I mean, it just doesn't stop. They can't even discern it. There's no discernment.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to have the, think like a snake, and these people are about as sharp as a bowling ball. It's fat. It's disgusting.
I like that
it's
one.
so gross.
That's good. I got to remember that one.
I like that one myself.
Well, don't get me started there.
Well,
oh, yeah. Don't get me fired up.
I got him fired up.
That they can put that family back in the reins of power here. You can just plan on more poisoning, more vaccines, more chemtrails, more UN control, breakdown of the states, financial fraud and crime that will make, what happened in 2008 look like a joke, and total control.
Part of the same strategy that the Republicans came up with a long time ago was two-pronged. I mean, people talk about part of it was race. Yeah, and that's true. A lot of white voters in the South would vote for Republicans because it just wasn't the party for the blacks, and they didn't cater to blacks. Blah blah blah. I don't want to get into that, but it's also part of the Southern strategy that you get the evangelical churches, to vote Republican because they go into the big thing about how they are so much for family values and they're against gay marriage, and I'm against that too. But it doesn't make me want to vote for. I mean, it's amazing to me that people can just gloss over the fact that one of the biggest predator pedophiles that ever was in Congress, and there's quite a few of them from what I understand, but it was Mark Foley, who was a Republican from Florida. This guy was the guy who came up with the law. He pushed the law to track down, pedophiles on the internet, and then he gets caught by the same law that he had proposed. It was amazing. It just and people just gloss over it, and over again. You got like Dick Cheney's daughter, is a lesbian in a gay marriage, and we're supposed to just gloss over that, and it's like, don't you get it? They're just using you. They don't care about that. I mean, there's probably a ton of those people that are homosexual or bisexual. They're in Congress right now, but people just ignore that.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
We have to wrap this sucker up, boys. We have to wrap this sucker up.
Okay, no problem.
I can hear hyperventilating on both ends of this phone. One last follow up with the Ted's email, and I'll throw it to you guys, and then we're going to have to close the sucker out. But Ted followed up and wrote, "It's weird how he, meaning Jeb, was completely out of the news until relatively recently, and now he is commenting on the GOP. Let's face it, folks, that means God's own party, on immigration, visiting White House with the old man, Dark Lord of the Sith, GHWB." Look, here's what I'm saying. Where we're going. Who they put in the White House to sell that part of the script is going to tell us exactly what emphases there will be. If I'm thinking Obama, and that means we're going to a New Deal a la FDR, Depression, War. If the GOP somehow, some way gets in, then you're going to see more hitting earlier on. But as you guys have all known, and you've spoken to, the Bush family has a very long and traditional tie to Germany. My point about Jeb was only this when I wrote that article for the American Free Press, and I'm like, look, if you really want the Republicans in and you want to manipulate the electorate, what you got to do is have him run because, one, remember something, he's a Bush, and look, no matter what you think about it, just give Rush Limbaugh and the other righties there a chance to work this, and they will think that the Bushes are the greatest thing since the Founding Fathers. The other thing is this, and do not overlook it, Jeb's bilingual. Spanish is his other tongue.
Well, I don't care about his sex life.
Larry, get out more often.
That's the only dumb joke I made today.
But I mean, remember that every illegal or legal that's from south of the Rio Grande.
I see your point.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, I sit back and I watch this all like a rigged wrestling match. It still is fun because of the theater, but understand whoever gets into the Oval Office is going to sell a certain emphasis on the plan of our destruction. I don't care who's in there. I'm just going to time it as as how much time I got to get out of Dodge. Having said that,
figure out which one's going to go. I mean, it could go either way. It's a toss up at this point. The entry of Jeb Bush in there may be a determining factor that will tell us what the elites are going to do.
Yeah. I mean, if he enters, that should just send out.
It's really scary because talk about a bunch of evil aristocrats. I mean, that's what they are. Is a bunch of evil aristocrats.
It's never been any different, and it won't be from here on in. I'm going to go around.
And the Bush family, there is a pretty credible argument that they are the grandchildren of Aleister Crowley. To wrap it all back up, right. I mean, the story of the mother and where her mother was, the grandmother, in Paris in the Roaring 20s, with associates of Aleister Crowley, is pretty much good evidence.
Barbara Bush is the daughter of Aleister Crowley. That is amazing.
If that's the truth.
If it's true.
And the thing is,
looks like him.
Well, here's the thing, is that they're all, and that goes back to the general thesis of my book, which is there's a correlation between the events of 9/11 and Aleister Crowley through numerology, 93/11, 77, 175. And, I mean, you just have all these, you know, when you look at the totality of the circumstances and the facts, it's hard to get away from that position, you know, and for me at least. And, you know, there's a lot more, there may be a lot more to the story, to our own history and to American history.
At least when you look at what takes place this year, don't get too upset, as I always do. But, I mean, just watch how they're going to play the people, because that speaks volumes, because the whole thing is rigged. And whoever they put in there, like I said, you know, kind of tells us what we can expect for the next 4 years. But certainly,
no doubt,
we are on very rocky shores. And all this economic chaos and such did not happen by accident. It didn't happen to return us to the way things were. We are on the precipice, whether people like it or not, on something very strange and dark and new. And that's just the way it is. William Ramsey, we thank you for being with us. The website is 911, occult911.org.com, excuse me. Can I ruin that anymore? Also check out the works that he has. He's got the book, Prophet of Evil, that was made into a DVD. He's also has another DVD called Occult Hollywood. Check that stuff out. Many of you have said you're interested. Well, I tell you what, hit it while it's hot. Go take a look there. Larry the Contractor guy from the wonderful country of Texas, we thank you for being with us for part 23.
Can I read something just very briefly, a poem?
Sure.
By William Butler Yeats, an associate of Aleister Crowley. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming, hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with a lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle, and that what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to that one. William Butler Yeats, The Second Coming.
I tell you what, Yeats, I have to admit, he's one of the few free verse poets I like. And he is very good, and I tell you what, he had a little mojo going for him too, to the point where he actually had. I think Crowley admitted he was afraid of Yeats. Did you come across that at all?
They kind of duked it out, you know, on a spiritual level, and I think Crowley won. I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, they're claiming to be a magical war. Yeah, claiming to have a magical war going on.
And remember also that Yeats, during the First World War, was pro-German. So yeah, they may not have been too disparate as we think, but Ireland also didn't want to go with the UK in World War I. But again, there's much more to cover. I thank you guys for coming on. This year will reveal a lot, and I appreciate your input, William. I hope you'll come back again. And Larry, of course, we're going to go on until the end of time, so that's not a problem there. All right.
Oh, man.
And everybody else out there, I just want to thank you for spending part of your Saturday afternoon or morning, however that would be, with us. We want to thank Big Jim out in Illinois for manning the board. And we'll find out exactly what happened with Jeff Longcold on, or maybe we won't. But, guys, thank you very much. I don't take it lightly. I appreciate your time with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.